Hello everyone, it's Jen here from tarotspirit.net. I am doing a weekly reading for the week of March 23rd. This one wants to come out. What am I going to do? Let's do a mini Celtic cross. Well, I guess that one's coming out. I hope everyone's doing well. If you have any suggestions for shows to watch or books to read, leave them down below. I'd love some ideas or things to do, things to pass the time, anything interesting you've watched or seen lately. That's the bowers, but I need one more. I'm using the Arthurian Legend Tarot. I've had this deck of cards, I think the second longest. So I've probably had this deck of cards for 20 years. And they're my deck. I don't know, does anyone have, I don't know how many actual readers out there watch this channel. I'm just curious if anyone has a deck that is kind of their deck. All right. Two of Swords. To me, in this deck, it's a meeting of the minds. So you have these two guys and they're coming together, and I don't know, it's terrible, the Arthurian legend well enough to know. Maybe that's what I should do with my extra free time is learn, just watch a movie. I've seen movies, I don't know, I haven't retained it. The Knight of Two Swords. But to me, this guy's crossed the water. He's gotten over his emotions or dealt with his emotions. He's waited till the water was calm enough. You can see this guy in the background to come over the water and talk to this guy. And so for me, the swords, and I don't always read the Two of Swords, but in this deck, some decks I read cards a little differently because of the visual that it presents. So things have calmed down. He's able to cross. The water's calm. The emotions have calmed down. And then swords cards are the mental realm, the thought, and they're ready to have a meeting of the minds, to talk it out, to think about it, to work together maybe. Oh, that would be nice. All right, what's the foundation? Oh, with it is the Ace of Swords. So it's interesting. This is one of those times when all the extraneous bullshit just doesn't matter anymore. All that matters are the very most basic things, right? Health, your loved ones, food, and things like that. And so I would say with the Ace of Swords, when you're struggling with all this stuff and you have all these emotions in it and all this backstory that you've created to a situation and to why someone's behaving some way, and we all do this, and we build up this whole story and this whole case, and it's only until we can really let most of that noise go that we get to the single truth, the bottom line, and everything becomes really clear. So this is a time when all that other crap we're able to let it go, just like the waters have calmed here. That's interesting. And then the Judgment card. So big decisions being made this week. All right, well, I'm interested to see what else is going on. What was the focus recently in the past? Death card. So this is a card about transformation. When we've experienced a death type situation. Now, the death card does rarely means real death. It's about, if you, the example everyone always gives, and it's a very good one, so I'm going to use it as well, is when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. The butterfly never goes back to being the caterpillar. It's transformed. So it is in a way like a little death, the death of that former self as a caterpillar, but it's still the same being, right? So we can have lots of situations like this throughout our lives where we transform, and parts of ourselves we either let go of. So this can be very cathartic and healing, and we releasing things. We must have is a new moon today? Where's my notes from last week? Full new moon in Aries on the 24th, so it depends on where you are in the world. So look up new moon rituals. What are we releasing? Are we releasing pettiness? Are we releasing, it's like pettiness, things that don't matter, bitterness, resentment. All right, let's keep reading. But it's nothing like a pandemic to put shit in perspective, right? What do we want the most? So it's interesting. It's time, it's patience. It's allowing things to... so I think we want to be able to ride this out with patience. And the way this card is often read, because in the Rider-Waite version, it's someone tending to their crops. So if you were to plant a seed and let that seed, so you plant a seed, right? And then you get down on your knees and you start saying, why isn't this fucking seed growing? Grow seed, god damn it. And just pissed. And every time you go there and you're upsetting yourself and trying to force this fucking seed to grow. When the seed's going to grow, it takes a certain amount of time to grow. It's like it takes a certain amount of time for someone to grow a baby in their stomach, right? It takes a certain amount of time for that seed to grow. So getting upset and trying to force something to happen faster than it is futile. But so we need to allow the process to happen and be patient. Now there are many, and so maybe you wait a couple weeks and the seed hasn't come out of the ground. Well, maybe that's an indication that the seed, whatever, wasn't viable. I'm so sorry. I'm up before my alarm. I'm sorry, I hope that wasn't super loud. Then you know you've waited too long. A lot of things in life are not that clear cut. They're not as obvious as we all know how long that seed of corn is going to take to turn into ears of corn. But for me, it's a reminder to allow, to let it flow. This is a process. We don't know the length of time, but screaming and getting angry and all that stuff isn't going to make it go any faster. So I don't know if this is just in general about the pandemic, or this would easily be something in your own life, whatever came to mind. Or it could be a lesson we're learning. It could be what we're letting go of. Maybe we had a situation like that recently. I remember too, I got this, this was many years ago, but I pulled a card about my son, and I got this card, and it made me realize, what are my expectations around a child? Children aren't even considered adults until 18, and we all know that children still need a lot of more support for longer. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I mean, we're allowed to keep them on our insurance till they're 26. So to be questioning or upset at all about why he isn't more mature in the moment is absolutely ridiculous, especially if he's not even a teenager yet. So that really helped me to just allow. And he's going to figure it out when he figures it out, and we're going to keep moving forward. And unless we're talking he's 18, 20 years old, I'm really not even going to start to worry about it as much as I can, because it's not fair. It's not fair to expect something of someone that they're not able to give at that time. Okay, so we've danced around the focus here. What is on our minds, these two cards? The Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups, this reminds me of the Red Wedding. That's a Game of Thrones reference. The Four of Cups is just being stuck, I guess. It's just a card of stuckness, of emotional stuckness. Just stuckness. I don't even know if that's a word, but it is now. Which is, it makes a lot of sense. It can be apathy, which is sort of feeling indifferent, right? But I think it can be low grade depression. It can be so say you're on a dating app. No, like no one's interesting. No one you want to look at. Just kind of nothing seems to be landing right. There's nothing to watch on TV. There's nothing. So in a very mundane, that's what it is. There's nothing to do. No suggestions are good enough. So, but it can be an indication, I think, that there's something more going on below the surface, like some depression, some anxiety. I know on Friday, my boss, I'm working from home, asked me for something, and I don't know why I was rushing. I have no idea. It was early in the morning. I had plenty of time and whatever. So I sent her something, and then I realized it was wrong. So I sent her an email. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm rushing. That's wrong. And then I sent her another email, and I realized that was wrong too. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I'm rushing. Please give me a minute. And she wasn't even rushing me. And she sent me this beautiful. She's like, don't worry, take your time, take a breath. Everything's fine. And sent me this really beautiful. I don't know if it's a poem about just kind of what's going on right now and putting things in perspective. And I didn't think I needed to I said, thank you so much. I didn't think I needed to hear that. I feel like I'm doing really well. I didn't think I needed to hear that until you sent that to me. You know what I mean? So she sensed through email and through how I usually am that something was a little off. And so I had been carrying this low level of anxiety that wasn't even registering with me. So I think maybe some of us who think we're doing awesome maybe aren't doing quite as awesome. Or if someone in your household or you're talking to seems to be a little off, maybe meeting that with some gentleness and some support instead of why are you acting weird? Might be a nice thing to do. What's crossing this? Four of Swords. Four of Cups, Four of Swords. Interesting. I kept feeling like the Two of Shields is going to come out, and I don't know why. Four of Swords, so meditation, relaxing. It's almost, swords are an air sign, but this is getting out of your mind, quieting your mind, calming that anxiety, calming those racing thoughts. So maybe for us, even if we feel like we're doing okay, it might be a week that we really, I would say that For the new moon in Aries, you'll have to see where, depending on where you are in the world, when it's going to be. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you hit it a day before, a day after, whatever. I mean, I'm sure some witches would disagree with me, but I'm a very practical witch person. um, so doing a new moon ritual might help to, where you have to write things down, might get some things up and out that you didn't realize uh, was in there that was bothering you. That might be a nice thing. There are tons of guided meditations online. Eckhart Tolle just released a really nice statement on his YouTube channel about times like these. And I've been taking a salt bath every day. I'm going to run out of salt, which is fine. I can take a bath without salt, but things like that, just having to be still and quiet might help. But I think definitely to approach others um, with softness and kindness. I don't know why so like softening. Like we need to soften things. All right, so here are some. What? So this this death card had been in focus. Now this Four of Cups and the Four of Swords is in focus, and then this is what might be coming into focus. What's right on the horizon? The Five of Shields. This is people worried about money. Just put it right there. But the other thing on a mundane level, the other thing though about this card is there's help available, and are people are starting to feel alone and that they're isolated. The traditional Rider Waite card has two people that are struggling outside of a church, and there's a warm glow coming from the church and help inside, and they aren't even looking at it and are huddling outside freezing. So there is help available if you look for it. So please don't suffer in silence. But this could just be feeling a lack of money, because obviously this is financially devastating the world. The other lesson, though, of the Five of Shields is it's kind of a lesson in manifestation. And that if you're saying, I don't have any money, I don't have money, no money, no money, no money, that's what you're putting that vibration out. If you subscribe to that type of to manifestation. So to be really thoughtful of what you're putting out into the world. So that's that you're getting back. So since this is on the horizon and hasn't happened yet, if maybe that new moon ritual you do can really and so say you look up a new moon ritual and it gives you some supplies you need or something, you can still do rituals like that without any fancy supplies, or you can maybe find substitutes if you really want to use something. It's all about the intention, okay? It's all about the intention. So get creative and don't go out and buy anything. Don't feel like you need to. You can make do with anything with just your brain, okay? All right, so here's some sort of overall cards. Lots of earth energy. I did the April readings, tons of earth energy. This Taurus energy at the end of April I'm already feeling it, and I don't know why. It's fine, it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just everywhere. Maybe it's that because Taurus is a fixed energy, so it's like stay in place, stay fixed. Knight of Pentacles is this card. It's a slow-moving knight, but it's a successful knight. Okay, so I think that's a great lesson for right now. It's very hard. I'm a fire sign. Let's do it. Let's do it now, and let's get it done. Let's go. And that energy does not work right now. Um, we have to be patient. We have to understand the short-term loss for the long-term gain, um, and keep that in perspective. We are the tortoise and the tortoise of the hare. Tortoise of the hare and the hare. It's really early in the morning. I'm sober as fuck. So just take it one step at a time. Balance, justice, Libra. It's interesting. We have the Taurus and the Libra. I just did April readings. Where's my notes? April 8th is a full moon in Libra, and April 23rd. I know this doesn't have anything to do with this week, but these are sort of the future overall cards. New moon in Taurus on April 23rd. So this is balance. This is staying balanced, of finding a way to keep things in perspective and not let your thoughts get too much in either way, too upset or too. So this is like wallowing in it and totally not thinking about it at all. But not necessarily, this isn't necessarily unhealthy, but so to keep that balance, it's of course you have to think about things and deal with things and understand reality and follow the scientific based rules of staying at home and washing your hands and protecting the vulnerable people. And then you also have to not think about it constantly, so you get so out of balance you are making yourself unwell just by that. The Libra card, the balance card. So to me that means we've got until, I wonder if we're going to be hunkered down still till that new moon in Taurus on April 23rd. But by the 8th, things will maybe the curve will start to flatten out, because they've been saying it's going to get worse. So we already know it's going to get worse. So when you start seeing that news, right, it's like, no, this is what they said was going to happen. And then it's so, see how that her arms are even like flattening out, right? So that's April 8th, which is things are flattening out. And then we have to wait it out, right, until the new moon in Taurus on April 23rd. I don't like to make predictions. I'm not a predictive tarot reader, but it came up very strongly in one of the April readings. I don't remember whose reading it was, that by Leo time, which is mid-July, things will be through the we'll be having some resolution. I don't know. I have no idea. But so keeping things in perspective. I mean, we don't know. It could be, I don't know how long it could be. People don't know. But keeping it in perspective and just thinking, okay, we can do this. It's not that far away. It's not that long. And having if you're a person that needs a plan, having a plan, but just short-term loss in quotes, because I don't know, not everyone's experiencing a loss, but I guess a loss of our freedom of being able to come and go as we please, and but long-term restriction short-term restriction for long-term goal. That's the true nature of the suit of pentacles. All right, guys, take care, be well. And I don't know. I'm gonna try to keep just pumping out videos here and there while I can, and provide some sort of entertainment during this time. So be well. Bye.